Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla and 6 months ago I quit my 9-to-5 job to take my business full-time, so we are due for an update. I do have an outline of the things that I want to talk about, but this is kind of going to be another informal chat of mine, just kind of saying what comes to mind, and I'll touch on all these points because that's what I wanted to mention, but yeah, I'm just going to go with the flow here. Also, y'all know that I can chat quite a bit, so I will try my best to keep things short and sweet, but that's probably not going to happen, so I will have timestamps if you want to click around. Also, if you could give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe if you are not subscribed already, I would really appreciate it. And also, if you want to support my channel any further, I have a YouTube membership now, so there should be the join button down there. I plan on posting some extra things here and there, but it is a great way to support me and I really appreciate it. For those of you that may be new here, I did quit my job 6 months ago. I stopped working in May. I was a Salesforce consultant. I had been doing that for 2 years. Before that, I was a microbiologist for 4 years. And then before that, I was working some hourly paid jobs. And then of course, before that, I was in school. So I've kind of had a weird trajectory with my career path, I suppose. And then ultimately, I quit my job so I could take YouTube and financial coaching full time. Now, back when I was planning this out, which I have videos on, they were titled sabbatical planning or entrepreneurial, I don't know, I'll link them down below. But I used the term sabbatical because I was thinking this was going to be kind of experimental. I wanted to take at least a year off from working a standard 9-to-5 job and try to take my business full time. I guess I was calling it an entrepreneurial sabbatical. But at this point, I would say this is not a sabbatical. This is this is ideally forever. So for me, this isn't something that is just temporary. I would say that I see myself doing this for much longer than a year. And at this point, I'm kind of just taking it day by day, week by week, month by month. I will have all the relevant videos linked down below, like the videos of me talking about planning for this, but also the video where I shared that I actually quit my job. I think that would be important to watch first before watching this, but in case you don't go back and watch that, or if you need a reminder as to why I quit my job, the main thing was that I was burnt out. Mentally, I was not thriving, I'm not somebody who shuts down or anything. I'm able to get out of bed no matter what. I've never really experienced major depression aside from when I was really sick, that sort of thing. But between working my 9-to-5 job, which to me was really unfulfilling, I was feeling stressed out by it just because I didn't like doing those things. I felt very trapped in it. I felt trapped in my office and I had to be at my desk at all times. I would say it was a more stressful job than the job I had before that, but I did get to work from home. And I had great managers and that sort of thing. I had a great team, but just the nature of the work was not what I wanted to continue to do. And of course, outside of that, I've been creating YouTube content for years, and then I've been doing financial coaching for years, and that was growing. And I found that work was picking up, so it was getting busier at my 9-to-5 job, but I was also getting more clients. And so I was missing the gym. I was missing time with my boyfriend. I was missing time with just relaxation. I didn't have much time for rest. I was always busy. And I did not like that, So I decided it was kind of, I knew I was going to quit sooner than the year. I was planning to save for over a year. It was 18 months that my sabbatical prep was supposed to be for. But I quit after 6 months of saving basically because I knew that I would quit earlier than the 18 months just because the way I felt. I was I cannot keep doing this. I can't imagine myself. If I didn't quit back in May, I still would have been working right now. And yeah, we'll talk about it. But I knew that I was going to quit sooner. I didn't think it would be as soon as I did quit. So I think I started planning for this in October of 2023, and then I actually left my job in May of 2024. But yes, to summarize how I was feeling, I felt really burnt out. I felt like I was counting down the days. I just wanted it to be the weekend, and every morning I was waking up feeling a lot of dread about having the day in front of me. And that's depressing. I don't want to feel that way. And before I get to all of the updates, I do want to give a huge thank you to Mint Mobile for partnering with me for this video. If you've been looking for areas to cut back or save some money in your budget or with your spending, a great place to start is your phone plan, and that is where Mint Mobile comes in because you can get premium wireless for as low as $15 per month. With all of their phone plans, you get unlimited talk and text, high quality speed, data, and coverage, as well as access to 5G, access to a mobile hotspot, and you can keep your same phone and you can keep your same phone number. What's also great is the setup process. It's super easy to switch over to Mint Mobile. Just visit mintmobile.com/debtoverit. That's also linked down below in my description box. From there, you'll enter a little bit of information about yourself, and you can also determine if your phone is eSIM compatible. If your phone is eSIM compatible, you can set things up within a few minutes right from the comfort of your home. If your phone is not eSIM compatible, do not worry. Mint Mobile will ship a SIM card to you free of charge. You'll get that in a couple of days, and then you can also set things up right from the comfort of your home in just a few minutes. I've been a customer of Mint Mobile for over 2 years now, and I love being able to save on my phone plan, and I still get the great coverage that I need. I especially love the hotspot. This is something I mention very frequently, but I use the mobile hotspot more frequently than I thought I would, and I get great coverage whenever I need it, but also great coverage anywhere that I go, including around the country. So if you want to save a little bit of money without the sacrifice, visit mintmobile.com/debtoverit. That's also linked down below in my description box to get premium wireless for just $15 per month when you purchase a 3-month plan. And this also includes their unlimited plan, which is typically $30 per month. Thank you again to Mint Mobile for partnering with me on this video. And now let's talk about the last 6 months. I don't know exactly how I want to structure this, so I'm just going to kind of go in the order of what I wrote on my little outline here. As I was saying before, I was really burnt out, and even if you go back and watch those videos, like burnout was a big thing for me. I've been burnt out for a very long time. I would say it's something that I've never actually recovered from because, going from all of grade school, right into college, right into grad school, right into working, I've just kind of been in a constant state of busyness and stress. I've always managed it well though, and I've talked about that before. But something that I did really want to take out of this time off was rest. Like rest is really important. And I knew that for some time I wanted to take things slow, And looking back at the last 6 months, I would say that was the first 4 months of after quitting my job. There were some days that I was allowing myself to sleep longer, In the past, I always was waking up at a specific time. I do still now wake up at a specific time, but that's more so because I have a foster dog. But we'll get to that. But yeah, so I allowed myself to sleep in here and there. I allowed myself to take naps pretty frequently. I spent some days just like reading my books. Like this year, I've already read 47 fiction books because I allowed myself to do that. I was like, I just feel like reading today, so that's what I'm going to do. I was still working on my business. There were times that were busier than other times. I've still consistently been working with clients, and I've still been obviously consistent here on YouTube. But I would say for the first 4 months of after quitting my job, I was kind of just doing the bare minimum so that I could take the time to rest. I definitely felt the pressure to like go all in and go hard with my business, but I'm glad that I did not do that now that I'm looking back. Like when I was making this outline, I'm like, oh, this is kind of how it's worked for like the 4 months, and then the last 2 months have been much different. And this kind of brings me to a couple of comments that I've received. Now, key word here is couple, because for the most part, y'all are super supportive, which I appreciate so much. Like for y'all to have my back for things. I've seen some people like respond to negative comments even, but they're not very often that I receive negative comments. And some people leave comments that maybe aren't negative to them, but they definitely come off as negative. And I guess these are kind of the ones that I am thinking of. So I actually just received one the other day, and it was like, do you regret quitting your job because you're not really making progress with your net worth? And it's like, okay, like, is that all that matters? I don't know. To me, that's a very negative comment. Like I don't know what you're trying to say with that. Are you trying to make me feel bad or make me think of that type of thing? Like, I don't know. That to me is not a helpful comment. But to answer the question, like, no, I don't regret. There was a time when I thought about it, which we'll talk about. But yeah, just comments like that are not helpful. I've also received one that was like, how do you feel that you've quit your job and you're doing this full time, but your business income hasn't grown? Like, how do you feel about that? And I'm like, what are you trying to get out of that comment? So I've received a few comments like that where it's not exactly negative, but it's definitely not supportive. It's not something that I like to read. Like, it doesn't make me feel good to read those. And that's kind of why I wanted to mention rest at the beginning of this, because like really for the first 4 months after quitting my job, I was not doing that much with my business. Like I did want my business to grow, but I can't look back on that and be like, I was trying so hard. I put so much effort into it and got nowhere, you know? And I'm glad looking back that I took the time to rest, because I feel so much better now. And obviously I'm going to see a slowdown with my net worth increasing if I'm not making as much money. And no, I haven't made a huge amount of money since I've taken my business full time, but I am doing pretty well for myself. And this kind of transitions into the next point that I want to talk about, which is like the initial struggles that I felt, the challenges that I felt throughout, I would say, during those 4 months at the beginning. So y'all know that basically going into this is me pursuing slow FI. FI stands for, or FI stands for financial independence, and then slow financial independence is basically just enjoying the journey while still investing and saving a little bit, or just as much as possible. But basically when I left my job, that's what I was pursuing, because now I can say for a fact that I am doing something that I truly and genuinely enjoy. It is fulfilling. Not every single part of it. I don't love every single part of it. I know that that's going to come with any job. Like there's going to be things that you don't enjoy, you know, but everything that I'm doing now is for me at the end of the day. And it is super fulfilling. So yes, me quitting my job is me pursuing slow FI, and I am not going to see a huge increase in my net worth unless I can see a huge increase in my income, and maybe that will come, but that's not the top priority to me. Now, transitioning into this was hard for me. Especially during the summer months when I saw my income drop. And y'all can see if you go back to those videos and watch me talk about my income reports and even my finance updates, like I was having a lot of self-doubt about leaving my job, and I was really struggling with going from a very high income for me to a very low income, you know? So back in January, February, for example, I was making over $12,000, over $13,000 in the month between my business and my full-time job. So I was just like chilling. Life was easy, finances were easy, and that's why I was able to save so much during that time, and you know what made this possible. But yeah, going into this, transitioning from a 9 to 5 and also working on my side hustles into fully focusing on my business and losing that steady income was a tough transition for me. It was something I was very uncomfortable with during those first few months, but lately it's been so much better. So yeah, we're gonna just focus on those first 4 months for a bit, because that's where I felt all of this. It was tough times. I started applying to jobs again. I wasn't putting in that much effort. I was just like, you know, if it was LinkedIn easy apply, I was like, okay, I'll just apply. Or I was sometimes looking at like part-time jobs around me or something. Like I looked at how much I could get paid if I went to go work at Lowe's, for example, or like a bookstore. And those were things that I was doing because I was doubting myself, because I had, you know, in August, I think I made $2,800 gross from my business income. And I was like, this isn't sustainable. What am I going to do type of thing. So I was definitely feeling that self-doubt and having a hard time transitioning from the higher income to a lower income, because it's just not something I was used to. There were also some things that happened that I was like, had I known, I wouldn't have left my job. And now looking back, I don't think those things, but at the time, like as I was going through them, which I would say was July, August time, I was thinking, had I known this, I wouldn't have left. One of those things, well, actually, this one I knew would happen. I just, dealing with it was annoying. So that would be the insurance issues, all the phone calls I had to make. Y'all know I talk about this often. I have Crohn's disease. Sorry if that's annoying that I mention it a lot, but it's a big part of my life. And I don't want it to be a big part of my life. I don't like thinking about having it, you know? So anytime something came up with it, like issues with the insurance or the savings card for my medication, that sort of thing, I had to think about it. So I'd have to make more phone calls and be on phone call after phone call, sometimes multiple days in a row. And I found that so frustrating, because it's just like, I don't want to think about having Crohn's. I don't want to have to deal with this. I didn't ask to have this disease, you know, like very, oh, pity me type of feeling, which I think is normal when you have a disease like that you didn't like. I didn't do anything per se to get this, but anyway, that's a whole different topic. But whenever, it's a very emotional thing for me to deal with. Like if I think about it too much, it does make me very emotional, and it's something that I've had to work on overcoming. And for the most part, it's not something that weighs on me, or it's not something that I think about. But there were times that I was brought to tears because of having to deal with the fact that I had Crohn's disease and dealing with the medication and the insurance thing. So that was just a challenge to get through, but I kind of expected that. And now I'm grateful to say that my medication is fully paid for. I don't have to pay for that. And also my insurance is only like $89 a month. And for the new year, I think it's going to go up to $102. That's after a tax credit, but yeah, still nothing crazy. I was expecting to have to pay like $700 a month. So this is like, okay. The second thing that happened was getting a foster dog. And I was like, had I known this was going to happen, I probably wouldn't have left my job. And looking back, it's like, oh, that's silly. You know, I don't spend that much money on her. And also the things that I purchase for her, I don't have to buy. Like if I absolutely had to cut it out of her budget, I could. But it was just an extra expense that I did not expect to happen this year. The reason that we got our foster dog, so she comes from Rome, Georgia, and I have known her since 2020. And I've wanted to take her since 2020. The first time that we saw her, she was tied up, like tethered in the front yard with no food, no shelter, no water. And she was just the sweetest thing. Her name is Honey. She is literally just so sweet, like honey. And everybody loved her. All of the volunteers loved her. And what we do with this volunteer group is we go and educate the people who live there on spay and neuter. And also a lot of the dogs there are tethered, or they're just like left outside. So we try to, say this is not how you have a dog. And also it's illegal there to tether dogs. So if we see that, we try to get them to not be tethered. Also provide medication and food, that sort of thing, resources for getting dogs spayed and neutered. So yeah, we saw Honey each time that we went out there. So I have known her since 2020, and each time that we've gone out there, I have tried to take her. There have been times I have offered the owner money, her owner then. I was like, I will give you $500 if you give me Honey. But they never did. And then this past summer, we went out there. We did not offer to help or anything. We just reported to animal control. And I think finally they threatened them with fines and blah, blah, blah. So eventually they have my number. So they texted me and said, hey, do you still want to take Honey? That's how I got Honey. So was this a possibility for the last few years? Yes. But I just didn't expect it to happen. I thought it would never happen. I thought I would find her dead. So I'm grateful to have her, but she's not. She's not our dog. She is available for adoption. I love her so much. But yeah, we do not want a dog at this time because it is an additional expense, and just in general, do not want a dog right now. So yeah, when it came to Honey, because of all of those years of me trying to get her, I definitely felt obligated to take her. It's not like people are volunteering left and right to foster dogs or even to adopt dogs. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all these problems with the shelters and stuff. But anyways, enough on that. That's why it was kind of unexpected, and why I actually am fostering her, even though we do not want any pets right now. The third thing that happened was pretty major, and that was that my boyfriend lost his job. I believe that was in August, like right after getting Honey. I did not expect that whatsoever. Like, he just came downstairs and was like, I just lost my job. I'm like, what? Like, I thought he was joking type of thing. So that was pretty shocking, and I don't rely on his income whatsoever. Like, obviously we split the bills and stuff, but I pay for everything myself. I pay my portion of the mortgage and of the utilities and that sort of thing. The whole house, the house is in his name, but I live here, pay him for my portion of everything. And overall, he's actually really well off financially. Like, he has a decent amount in savings. Luckily, we already had the house. It's not like he was in the process of buying the house and that would have had any setback or anything. Like, I'm glad that we already had it. And so he's fine financially. Even to this day, he still does not have a job. So he lost his job in August, and it's now November 4th that I'm filming this. But he has been interviewing and stuff, and fingers crossed that something comes through this month. Luckily, he does have a lot saved up, so he could probably last for a couple of years off of his savings, but that's not the ideal situation, of course. And yeah, so because of that, I was like, oh my God, had I known, I wouldn't have left my job, because what if something happens? Or I had asked him, like, do you want me to go back to work? Because actually, when I went to Wyoming, I hung out with somebody from the company that I worked at before this, and she was basically making it sound like they would take me back. So I was like, okay, that's an option. Like, do you want me to go back to work type of thing? But honestly, with all of that, it's been fine. Like, yes, there have been little parts of it that have maybe added a bit more stress or tension type of thing, because having a dog is like an extra responsibility. Him not having a job, like that affects people, you know. So there's been parts of it that have been challenging, but as far as me quitting my job and now looking back, I am still glad that I left my job, and I feel much more confident moving forward. So that leads me to the last 2 months. So basically September, October, and now into November. I've really had a mindset shift, and I feel more motivated and excited about all of this than ever. There are some times where I'm just like walking or living my life or talking even with my boyfriend, like, wow, I'm really doing this, you know, like I'm doing the thing, you know, and this is what I wanted. Years ago, like I've posted videos on here on YouTube, you can see where I was saying that this is what I wanted to do, and it makes me emotional. Like I'm doing it, and that's crazy to me. And even I'm just so grateful that I took that leap of faith, because I'm not somebody who takes risks very often. Some people say that they're surprised by that because like I'm very open on the internet and stuff, but to me that's not risky. Risk is like quitting your job or doing things way outside of the norm. Like me, after graduating high school, I went to get my bachelor's degree. I went to get my master's degree. Like I did things very by the books, the things that society expects of you, and this isn't something that I would traditionally do, you know? Like I always wanted to, but in the back of my mind I was like, would I ever do that? That's really scary, but I'm doing it. And the other thing that I've really realized over the last couple of months is that I'm an entrepreneur, you know? And I've really started to see myself as an entrepreneur, because before this I was like, I'm a YouTuber, you know, and that doesn't feel entrepreneurial, I guess. And I'm a financial coach, and that just feels like, ooh, I'm a financial coach. You know, I don't know how to explain it. I guess I didn't feel confident in saying like I'm an entrepreneur, but I would say I am. And I've really felt that way. Like I am treating things as a business as I should be, because I am a business. Like you know, like the way I'm set up, this is a business. And honestly, one of the biggest shifts is from September. And that was when I started working with a LinkedIn coach. And I paid him $3,500. I paid $1,750 in September, and then $1,750 in October. And that changed the game for me. I don't know. I'm so grateful I did that. I was very scared to do it. I was like, I'm a financial coach. I'm a finance person. Like, I don't feel comfortable dropping $3,500 on this, but I was like, let's do it, you know? And to me, that was a huge turning point, because that's really when things started to click for me. Like this, I am an entrepreneur. This is a business. I need to treat it that way. It also gave me the confidence to increase my rates. I've been doing discovery calls and, you know, practicing different skills. I've just learned a lot and realized that the way that I was doing things before was not in my favor. It's just been a huge learning experience for me, and I have gotten much more out of this than I was expecting to. And it's not even because of like one-on-one sessions or anything. It's just like the fact that I invested into this, and now I just feel like I'm curing myself in a different way, if that makes sense at all. The other thing that recently happened was FinCon, and that was very recent, like over the last 2 weeks, but that was pretty life-changing, I would say. I've already bought my pass for 2025 to go to FinCon then, because it was amazing, and I wish I had gone in the years past, because I probably would have done things much differently than I have been doing them, and I probably would have, experienced more growth with my business. But you've got to just enjoy the journey, you know? And I feel like at this point I am enjoying the journey. I'm super overwhelmed after FinCon, and even after like all the decisions that I need to make around my business and all the things that I need to do are really overwhelming. And the thing about me is I have so many ideas. Like I am an idea machine. It is so annoying. I honestly, I love, I love it, but I hate it at the same time, because if I think of an idea at 1 a.m, like I've sometimes woken up with just, it's like 1 a.m. and I wake up and I have an idea, and then I cannot sleep because I'm like, what if I did this? What if I did this? And honestly, I will start executing on all of those ideas. And the problem with that is then I'm executing on these like 20 different ideas, and I don't focus on one thing. I really struggle with niching down. I struggle with focusing on one thing. And I know if I did that, I would see more growth, but I'm somebody who likes all of the things that I'm trying to do, so I don't want to. Like I'm very stubborn in that, and I know that maybe makes me not a good entrepreneur, a good business person, but at the end of the day, I want to be happy and do the things that I want to do, you know? And if that means a little bit of less money, then so be it. But at the same time, I'm learning things that will actually move the needle more, you know? So there's just been some changes that I'm going to be making with my business and YouTube content, and nothing crazy, don't worry, but like, yeah, I'm just realizing that there needs to be a shift with how I currently do things, and all of these things have made me more motivated around all of it and like just more focused on what I was doing. I would say like the first 4 months of me being full-time business owner, I was not organized with things. Like I just was kind of taking the day as it was. Like, yes, I would plan out my weeks, but I was wasting a lot of time on things. I was letting myself get distracted, and I just feel like now I have a vision, and I'm just enjoying the process much more and can see the path forward. And along with that, I don't feel as concerned about money. That's for sure. Like, also, I feel like I am seeing the fruits of my labor at this point, because I made over 4,000 in September, made over 4,000 in October. I'm hoping that will keep consistent. Like, I want at least 4,000 each month, but definitely more than that. So I'm hoping to see that grow over the next few months. And I know that if I keep doing what I'm doing, then and improving on it, then I can definitely get there. So yeah, right now I would say that with everything, I'm kind of in a phase of hustle and busyness, which isn't ideal. Like I really did want to go from a very busy life to a slower life. And I enjoyed a slower life for 4 months, and I will eventually have, the thing is I really like what I'm doing, you know, I like being busy with the things that I'm doing. I'm glad that I don't have that 9 to 5. That's really what bothered me. I like working on my business. There are times where I'm like, man, I do just want to read right now, but it's, I do need to be busy right now so that later, basically I'm building up things so that they can be more passive later on. So this is the phase that I'm in right now, because I need to be able to grow, be able to set up systems. I've been really bad about setting up systems with my business and the way that I work in things. And that's what I am improving upon, so that things can run more smoothly without me having to be so hands-on with everything. So yeah, that's what I'm really focusing on over the next few months. And something else that I want to mention that I feel like is a direct correlation with me leaving my job is the fact that I am stepping out of my comfort zone so much lately, and it's expanded my brain. It's crazy. So I feel like it really did start with the LinkedIn coach, because me doing these discovery calls, and you know, some of y'all may have sat on those calls with me. It's not something that I'm used to, and at the end of it, I am selling my offer, I am pitching my offer, and that's not something I'm comfortable with. So I'm learning new things, and that has helped me to grow as a person. I really want to get better at speaking in front of an audience, because that honestly, it terrifies me, and it's something that I can do, but it's something that I still feel a lot of anxiety around, and when I'm in the moment of it, I get really nervous, and I don't want to feel that way, or at least I want to reduce it and just get better at it. So I'm definitely doing things to try and ease that anxiety. So when I was at FinCon, I filmed 3 videos. That was very new for me. Typically, I don't film with anybody else. I was setting up the camera. This is much easier to do around content creators, because nobody cares that I have a camera set up and that I'm like interviewing other people. So I started doing that at FinCon. Mary and I filmed a video. That video is coming soon. So that kind of started things, made me feel more comfortable around just being on camera while other people are watching. This past weekend, I went to the Beltline here in Atlanta and was interviewing strangers. I was going up to strangers and asking, hey, I run a personal finance YouTube channel. Would you be willing to answer a few questions about your finances? And I got this on camera. So that video is coming soon. I was asking them like how much debt they have, that sort of thing. Like I've been wanting to do that for years, but I was so anxious, and honestly, I would have backed out, but my boyfriend, he really pushed me to do it, and I'm so glad I did it, because it was, I hated it. I hated just about every second of it, but it definitely made me feel more confident, because I was like, okay, I can do this. Yeah, even just looking back on that was just a few days ago, and I can't believe I did that. I'm excited to edit that video and get that up. It'll be up later this month. I'm also going to be teaching, volunteering at a place that they help homeless people get into homes, and then they basically help them maintain that life. So they don't want them to go back to homelessness, of course, and they have these series that they teach on finance. So they run multiple classes throughout the month, and I'm going to be teaching a class on budgeting and saving to to that group. So I'm super excited about that. That's also in November. Something I'm not that excited. I'm more just nervous. I am excited because I just think it'll be really fun to teach that. It's something I really enjoy teaching about. So I am excited, but also very nervous. That is something that does really make me anxious, and I lose sleep at night before having to present. So I'm expecting to not really sleep the night before that, but that will also be later in November. That should definitely help with practicing speaking in front of people. The book club, part of the reason I did that was, yes, I wanted to read more nonfiction books, but I also want to speak in front of people, because typically it's just me and a client, or me and a couple, or me in a much smaller group setting type of thing. And if I am on a call with a whole group of y'all, I will learn to overcome the fear. I want to start teaching some webinars, like live webinars. I get nervous for those. Like if I were to give a presentation on Zoom or whatever, I get nervous for that. So going to be working on those. Those are coming soon. Yeah, so these are all things that I've done over the last couple of months, and I feel like it all stemmed from hiring that LinkedIn coach. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this and do this because I want to overcome these fears and I want to grow. So that's what I've been doing, stepping out of my comfort zone. And I feel like none of this would have happened if I didn't leave my job. So in summary, the first 4 months were tough. The last 2 months have been much better, and I'm feeling so much better about things. I don't even mind that I'm making less money. I have gotten over that. I don't feel the self-doubt like I did before. Of course, it still creeps in. It's not easy to be rejected for the various things that I'm working on, but I am very, very proud of myself, and I do not want to go back to a 9-to-5. I don't see myself ever going back to a 9-to-5. If I absolutely had to, sure, I would, but I hate the interviewing process, like seeing my boyfriend go through the interviews and the BS that comes with it, the emails, they're wasting his time half the time, it pisses me off for him. And I remember going through that myself. Even when I had the last job, I was trying to get a different job, and just the interview process, getting ghosted. It's not for me. Yeah, I never want to go back to a 9-to-5. And even when I think about, like right now, it's 4:53, so I'd be wrapping up my day if I did still have my full-time job. But earlier today, for example, it was like 1 o'clock, and I was like, I kind of want to take a nap right now. But I probably would have had a meeting if I was working a regular job. Or even just thinking about, we had these daily stand-ups that we had to attend. I think it was at 9:45. And like sometimes I think of that, it'll be that time, and I'm like, oh, right now they're in a stand-up, and I would be in that stand-up if I didn't leave that job. It's just imagining myself doing what I was doing 6 months ago. I just could not. I couldn't even fathom it right now. I couldn't fathom going back. I think this has really just taught me and shown me that your fears are just that. And I'm actually looking at, on my bulletin board, a head full of fears has no space for dreams. I've always had that pinned there, and I'm looking at that right now, and that's kind of crazy, because I was so fearful about leaving my job, about everything, about the money, about the insurance, about what I would, like all these things were so scary. But now that I'm in it, it's like I was holding myself back for what? I'm just so grateful that I did this, and I hope that this is just me sharing my experience. I know that many people, I'm in a place that not a lot of people can get to, and I'm very grateful for that. Please don't see this video as me like bragging or being like, oh, because I don't work a 9-to-5, I'm better. I think 9-to-5s are great. If you want to stay in your 9-to-5, that's amazing. If you want to get out of it, just know that you can. Like, it may take some time, and please don't look at my situation, my current situation, and be like, oh, I've been building this for years, so I would really appreciate if nobody would undermine that. Is that the right word? Like, I don't know, almost every time there's somebody who's like, must be nice or something like that, but that's okay. I understand most of y'all are supportive, so I appreciate it so much. So yeah, I just, please don't take this as that anything negative. This is just me sharing my experience. Anyways, that's it. I'm talking a lot. The sun is setting. I need to go to the gym. So that is all. Thank y'all so much for being here, for supporting me. Please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know if you have any questions. But otherwise, I'll see you in my next one.